I begin by saying that Egypt is on the right track. The recent reforms that took place in the energy sector by removing energy subsidy is really a step in the right direction, because it corrected distortions that led to specialization in dirty industries. And by removing the subsidies and making fuel expensive, this will reduce the size of these industries and therefore will reduce pollution. It will also promote energy efficiency, and most importantly, it will promote the use of renewable energy, because making fossil fuel cheap means that renewable energy has no place in on the agenda.
I come from the other side of the ecosystem on the business side. And let me tell you that, and then reply to Dr. Abeer about the putting in place the incentives that would encourage businesses to reduce their footprint. It actually doesn't work. And I worked on the European Emissions Trading Scheme that started in the EU under the Kyoto Protocol in 2004. And that was a very ambitious program that was trying to get all of the EU countries to reduce their carbon emissions by 5% a year. And I've seen the carbon credits, or the carbon permits to emit CO2 emissions per ton go as high as 30 euros per ton of CO2. And I saw it also crash to 0.1 euros. And what actually happens is that those types of market incentives give opportunity for business to cheat them. And this always happens. And the reason is that businesses, the incentives of way businesses work is that they try to outsmart the system. And this always happens. So once you put like a tax incentive or a carbon credit or anything of the sort, you're actually giving an opportunity for those who would be able to get around it to outgrow the others who are sticking to the rules. Let's deal with reality. Very, very few people really care about the environment and the planet. Most of us really do not care. And it's not because we're bad people, but this is how we are designed. Humans are designed in a way whereby they move with certain incentives. And those incentives, the most important one of them is self-interest. Anything that is not designed around self-interest usually loses. And thus, if people care, or those who care about the environment, who care about the planet, who care about sustainability, they should stop talking about it, because that's the thing that actually kills it. What needs to be done is, if you have access to resources, to education, to new ideas, get to integrate them within the mainstream economy. Get to produce products and services that are targeting the self-interest of the people. So if you have a problem with coal, if you have a problem with diesel, the answer to that is not giving incentive to renewables. But actually, those incentives, they make renewable companies more stupid. The incentive is that the renewable company that would be able to cut its cost below diesel and coal is the one that is going to grow in the market. And that's the real incentive that makes sense. So basically, if you believe in sustainability, you should be offering electricity that is cheaper than the conventional sources of electricity. And that's the only thing that works. Why? Because that's the only thing that people understand. If you're buying a kilowatt hour at X, and I offer it to you at X minus, you're definitely going to buy it from me, regardless of whether it came from the sun, the wind, or coal. Nobody really cares, and that's the reality that we are not acknowledging. We are always aiming to touch the good within the people. That works one time out of 1,000 times. I want to be good sometimes, but if being good all the time is against my interest or requires a lot of effort and resources, I'm not going to do it. But come and talk to me about my self-interest. And almost 100% of the times, I'll probably do what you're expecting me to do. And that's why sustainability should be packaged in that way. It should be packaged in practical tools, products, and services that actually make people's lives better in ways that they understand it, in ways that they acknowledge. When you tell me that the planet is going to get better by me reducing my carbon footprint, 99.9% of the cases, nobody will care. But if you tell me that you're going to give me a kilowatt hour that is 5% cheaper than any other source that I have, I will listen to you. And that's what we are trying to work on, avoid incentives and focus on the real way people function. Just to give you a very interesting thing, there is two companies actually. One of them is called SunEdison, that used to be the biggest solar developer globally. And SunEdison was banking almost completely on the tax incentives that exist in different countries where they operate. And when different countries started stopping those tax incentive programs, that company actually collapsed. The other one is SMA. They are a very famous manufacturer of solar inverters. And that company lost 50% of its revenues once Germany stopped its renewable energy subsidy program. Those things kill innovation. The one thing that is needed is free access to the market for everyone and companies competing with reality. We do not need the power subsidies to be removed because some people really need them. We need to enhance our abilities to produce electricity that is even cheaper than subsidized power. That should be the goal.